Hello, friends.
Hi, friends.
I'm Evelyn,
I'm Sabrina.
and welcome to our channel.
Welcome, welcome. Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Let's just jump right in.
Yes, jump into chapter 10. Recap of chapter 9. A lot happened.
It was a long chapter.
Matt and Stefan came back with Vervain. They've agreed to share it with Bonnie
And
Meredith for their safety because things are starting to happen.
Protect Matt, though. Give some to Matt.
Yeah.
Matt deserves it. I'm going to eat some popcorn while we talk.
That's okay. I agree Matt deserves some too because his life is getting on the line. We found out that Caroline stole Elena's personal journal and that Caroline and Tyler are planning to sabotage her and humiliate her at the festival. Founders Day thingy.
And Tyler has a bee in his butt.
Yeah.
About Stefan being considered one of the founding families.
Mm-hmm. When Tyler feels like it should be his family. And Tyler is still having this grudge to try and continue to frame Stefan for these 3 murders that are happening.
Oh, and he's boning Caroline.
Yeah, we suspect.
I think that they not so subtly hinted at it, but they're trying to keep it PG because kids book.
Yeah, I agree. What else?
As it said, there was a lot of sighing going on.
Yeah, it did. It sure did. Yep, there's a lot of that. And we both agree that at this point, Elena needs to tell at least Bonnie the full story of what's going on, and that they've all made a pact. The 3 girls have made a pact to help Elena confront Catherine after school, and we think that Elena's going to chicken out and not include them and tell them to back off, and she's going to go and try and confront Catherine on her own. Caroline, sorry.
Well, you did
now
the same
you got me.
name.
You got me thinking that.
Too many C names.
Yeah. Caroline, not Catherine, confront Caroline on her own after school and not tell her friends. And we think that that's going to push her friends away from her. And they're not going to, want to be her friend anymore. And yeah, that's kind of...
They're kind of taking a lot of stuff on faith.
Mm-hmm. That's kind of the good
there's
recap.
Some crazy stuff going on, and they're not being really included.
Yeah, and Elena keeps lying. She's lying to Stefan, she's lying to Bonnie, she's lying to Meredith, she's lying to her aunt.
She's just a liar, pants on fire.
Exactly. Alright, so I guess we'll dive into chapter 10. Oh, theory board. Well, we didn't physically add anything yet.
We're so bad about that.
We'll do it after this clip. Meredith will get killed off. Sorry, honey. Seymour Bonnie's powers develop. Catherine is still alive, and Robert will be killed off for Alaric to move on in to the. I'm waiting for that one. But
we don't have enough Alaric scenes.
We don't, but I think we will as time goes on.
I think there's going to be more in the next book.
I agree. I guess there's probably 2 things we were going to add to the board. Is that Catherine's animal that she could turn into is a cat. Meow. That's one. Secondly, we believe that Catherine is tricking all these people to think that it's Elena attacking her, doing her all these awful things when it's Catherine.
And that she might be controlling Caroline just a little bit.
As a little demon type of thing. And
she's weak-willed.
Yes. She runs on, grudgement, basically.
Grudgement?
I don't know. I don't know what the right word is, but she runs off of, being vengeful, spiteful towards people. And I think we were going to add something about Caroline. I don't know. No, but we're going to add those 2 things to the board for next time. Anyways, diving on into chapter 10.
Grudgement. I'm going to use that.
Grudgement.
I like that.
Right? It sounded right. I don't know.
So we got heroes to enemies, and then we got grudgement. We should make that a new subcategory, not subcategory, but a new category under what you're looking for in a book.
Grudgement.
Grudgement.
Oh my gosh, that's not. Anyways, continue chapter 10.
Chapter 10. These need chapter titles. It makes me really sad that they don't have chapter titles.
I know they should, but oh well. It is what it is.
So sad.
So sad.
The bell rang. There was no time to go back to the cafeteria and tell Bonnie and Meredith. There's no time. There's no time. Not at all. Okay, sorry. I'm getting pissed. I'm getting pissed for Bonnie and Meredith.
Yeah, it's
Come on,
kind
Elena.
of
It's ridiculous.
a little bit. But when you're a teenager, life is like that though in your head.
Yeah,
When you're a teenager.
Very,
But she's more conceited than I think us as teenagers were.
I don't think she realizes what she's putting her friends through. She's like, I'm gonna be back in a minute, and like literally spends all of lunch doing exactly what Bonnie and Meredith told her not to do, and then doesn't show up at the end of lunch. So they've been sitting there waiting for her all of lunch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
It's wrong.
It's wrong. I don't know. I think Elena might be the villain here. I might be like, okay, I kind of like Catherine more.
At this point, I'm starting to. But
Like,
maybe we're just seeing it
like
through.
Elena.
But maybe we're our perspective is more of an adult-like instead of teenage-like now.
I mean, the heroes are the stories are told from the winner's point of view, right?
Right, and this is Stefan's sort of point of view.
No, it's Elena's, right? Because we're talking about Elena, but it's also like the person who wins obviously is Elena.
I think I'm jumping ahead because I finished rewatching the series, the TV series, and I think I understand better whose diaries this is.
We'll see.
But we'll see.
Elena set off for her next class, past the averted faces and hostile eyes that were becoming all too familiar these days. It was hard, in history class, not to stare at Caroline, not to let Caroline know she knew. Alaric asked about Matt and Stefan being absent for a second day in a row, and Elena shrugged, feeling exposed and on display. She didn't trust the man with the boyish smile and the hazel eyes and the thirst for knowledge about Mr. Tanner's death. And Bonnie, who simply gazed at Alaric soulfully, was no help at all. After class, she caught a scrap of Sue Carlson's conversation. He's on vacation from college. I forgot exactly where. Elena had had enough of discreet silence. She spun around and spoke directly to Sue and the girl Sue was talking to, bursting uninvited into their discussion. If I were you, she said to Sue, I would keep away from Damon. I mean that. There was a startled, embarrassed laughter. Sue was the one of the few people at school who hadn't shunned Elena, and now she was looking as if she wished she had. You mean, she said to the other girl hesitantly, because he's yours too? Or... Elena's own laughter was harsh. I mean, because he's dangerous, she said, and I'm not joking. They looked at her. Elena saved them from further embarrassment of having to reply or get tactfully away by turning on her heel and leaving. She collected Bonnie from Alaric's cluster of school-age groupies and headed for Meredith's locker. Where are we going? I thought we were going to go talk to Caroline. Not anymore, Elena said. Wait until we get home and I'll tell you why. I can't believe it, said Bonnie an hour later. I mean, I believe it, but I can't believe it. Not even Caroline. It's Tyler, Elena said. He's the one with the big plans. So much for men not being interested in diaries. Actually, we should thank him, said Meredith, because of him we found out we have at least until Founders Day to do something about it. Why did they say it was supposed to be on Founders Day, Elena? Tyler has something to do with the Fells, but they're all dead, said Bonnie. Well, that doesn't seem to matter to Tyler. I remember him talking about it in the graveyard, too, when he was looking at the tomb. He thinks they stole his ancestors' rightful place as the town's founders or something. Elena, Meredith said seriously, is there anything else in the diary that could hurt Stefan besides the thing about the old man? I mean, isn't that enough? With steady dark eyes on her, Elena felt discomfort flutter between her ribs. What was Meredith asking? Enough to get Stefan run out of town like they said, agreed Bonnie. Enough that we have to get the diary back from Caroline, Elena said. The only question is how. Catherine said it had to be hidden somewhere safe. That probably means her house, Meredith chewed her lip thoughtfully. She got the one brother in 8th grade, right? And her mom doesn't work, but she goes shopping in Roanoke a lot. Do they still have a maid? Why, said Bonnie. What difference does it make? Well, we don't want anyone walking in while we're burglarizing the house. While we what? Bonnie's voice rose to a squeak. You can't be serious. What are we supposed to do? Just sit back and wait until Founders Day and let her read Elena's diary in front of the town? She stole it from your house. We've got to steal it back, Meredith said, maddeningly calm. We'll get caught. We'll get expelled from school if we don't end up in jail. Bonnie turned to Elena to appeal to her. Tell her, Elena. Well, in all honesty, the prospect made Elena herself a little queasy. It wasn't so much the idea of expulsion or jail as the thought of being caught in the act. Mrs. Forer's haughty face floated before her, eyes full of righteous indignation. Then it changed to Caroline's, laughing spitefully as her mother pointed an accusing finger right at Elena. Besides, it seemed to be a violation to go into someone's house when they're not there to search their possessions. She would hate if someone did that to her. But of course someone had. Caroline had violated Bonnie's house, and right now Elena's most private possession was in her hands. Let's do it, she said quietly, but let's be careful. Can't we talk about this? said Bonnie weakly, looking from Meredith's determined face to Elena's. There's nothing to talk about. You're coming, Meredith told her. You promised, she added as Bonnie took a breath of fresh aspect and held up her index finger. The blood oath was only to help Elena get Ch.10, Bonnie cried. Think again, said Meredith. You swore you would do whatever Elena asked in relation to Ch.10. There wasn't anything about a time limit or about only until Elena gets him. Bonnie's mouth dropped open. She looked at Elena, who was almost... She's right, but also, that's a lot to ask.
It is, and make it a blood oath. When you do stuff with blood, you can't really fuck with that. You can't go back on it. You just can't.
But it's still, so much to ask of them.
It is.
Especially after she's being a terrible friend.
Yeah. I'm 100% agreement with you. 100%.
Bonnie's mouth dropped open. She looked at Elena, who was almost laughing in spite of herself. It's true, Elena said solemnly, and you said it yourself. Swearing in blood means you have to stick to your oath no matter what happens. Mm-hmm. Bonnie shut her mouth and thrust her chin out. Right, she said grimly. Now I'm stuck for the rest of my life doing whatever Elena wants me to do about Ch.10. Wonderful. This is the last thing I'll ever ask, Elena said, and I promise to that. I swear. Don't, said Meredith seriously. Don't, Elena. You might be sorry later. Now you're taking up prophecy too, Elena said. And then she asked, so how are we going to get a hold of Catherine's house key for an hour or so? December 9th. Caroline's house key. Man.
You Catherine and Caroline, you're not good with it.
That's because Caroline's not usually a, issue in Vampire Diaries, so I think it just, throws me off because, yeah.
I agree.
She was a little bit maybe in season 1, but, she mellowed out by, a lot.
And then I really liked her at the end. The last season of the TV shows, I really liked her.
She's, so down to earth at the very end.
Mm-hmm.
She's definitely not down to earth in here. She's kind of psycho.
A little bit.
Psycho.
A little bit.
November 9th, Saturday. Dear Diary, I'm sorry it's been so long. Lately I've been too busy or too depressed, or both, to write you. Besides, with everything that's happened, I'm almost afraid to keep a diary anymore, but I need someone to turn to because right now, there's not a single human being, not a single person on earth that I am not keeping something from. Whose fault is that?
Do you notice how now, when she writes, she will differentiate instead of mostly saying person, she says human beings?
Yeah.
Instead of just people or persons. She'll say it, but when she's first making a notation of, the general population of a species, she says human beings.
Yeah.
Instead of just, nobody in the world. How a teenager would. You notice that? I just noticed that. But that's just me.
Well, and also, she's complaining about, not, keeping secrets from people, and I'm like, whose fault is that? You're the one who's keeping everything.
And lying. You're lying.
And, Ch.10 literally didn't say, don't tell Bonnie and Meredith. He didn't say that. She's just oh, yeah, that's his secret to tell, so I'm just not going to tell it.
I mean, to be fair, it is his secret to tell, but now that doesn't matter anymore. She needs to tell them.
Exactly, and I'm pretty sure that Ch.10 would be okay with it.
Yeah.
As long as it's just those two. And he's not, making a proclamation to the school. Hear ye, Ch.10 Salvatore, the vampire.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. It's annoying.
It is annoying. Bonnie and Meredith can't know the truth about Ch.10. Why not? Sorry.
Right? Why not? What did you want to know if I was putting you through all this? by the way, my
This
boyfriend's
is
a
why.
vampire.
That's why we're
That's
having some
why-
issues.
That's why there's
Yeah.
issues. So, anyways.
Stefan can't know the truth about Damon. Why not? Why not?
I don't get this.
Now you're keeping stuff from Stefan.
This must be exhausting for her. Like, mentally, this would be exhausting. Let me go plug in my
We'll
charger
be back.
real quick. Wait, my microphone.
Oh, put that back on.
That's okay.
That's okay.
We got it. Here it is. Hello. Continue.
I think I shall. And Judith can't know about anything.
Oh my dear Lord, I can't with this girl. I'm over it.
Bonnie and Meredith know about Catherine and the diary. Stefan doesn't. Why not? Why not?
When his personal information's in there.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, she didn't put that he's a vampire, but she did
But close enough.
But, I mean, she didn't put that... at the time, she didn't realize that, like, he had followed her to the cemetery, and she didn't really realize that he had the bow, or didn't... you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like...
Yeah.
She didn't do it on purpose, and, like, she was careful at the beginning to keep out, like, the fact that he was a vampire, like, specifically. So I'm just like, okay, why not?
Why can't he know?
Stefan knows about the vervain I use every day now. Bonnie and Meredith don't. Why not? Why not tell him?
I would tell you because I love you.
Yeah. Plus, she, like, snuck it in their backpack. I'm like, but that's not going to protect you when you're asleep.
Yeah, if it's in your backpack, what's
It's going to stop it at school, but that's about it, and it's only if you're wearing a backpack.
Yeah.
No, I'd be like, hey, look, here's a little necklace. This is supposed to ward off evil spirits. Wear it every day, please.
Yeah, something like that would be nice.
Even if you didn't tell them about the vampires, be like, oh, look, I got this little necklace for you. It's so cute. You need to wear it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to really feel sad if you don't wear it.
I'll be really upset if you don't wear it.
Yeah.
Be really upset. So
Yeah.
please wear it.
All the time.
Never take it off.
Even
I'd warn you.
Oh, yeah.
I totally would.
Even though I've given them both full satchels of the stuff. One good thing, it seems to work, or at least I haven't been sleepwalking again since that night. But it wouldn't be a lie to say I haven't been dreaming about Damon. He's in all of my nightmares. My life is full of lies right now, and I need someone to be completely honest with. I'm going to hide this diary under a loose floorboard in the closet so that no one will find it, even if I drop dead and they clean out my room. Maybe one of Margaret's grandchildren will be playing in there someday and pry up the board and pull it out. But then, until then, nobody. This diary is my lost secret. Is it? Because right now...
I don't think so.
Yeah.
You're just full of shit.
Yeah.
Honestly, you just are.
I don't know why I'm thinking about death and dying. That's Bonnie's craze. She's the one who thinks it would be so romantic. I know. Why is it romantic to die? Okay, whatever.
When you're a teenager, it's It's just passion. Passion is romantic. Grand gestures are romantic.
But dying?
Yeah. So someone dies for you, it's romantic.
But she didn't say. She didn't say die for you. She just said death is romantic.
Well, it can be. Metaphorically thinking.
Unless you're like some crazy goth chick and is like, death, yes. But I don't think she's like some crazy goth chick.
No. I think she's viewing it as like the cycle of life.
I don't know.
Ending is a beginning.
I know what it's really like. There's nothing romantic about it. When Mom and Dad died, just the worst feelings in the world. I want to live for a good long time, marry Stefan and be happy. There's no reason why I can't once all these problems are behind us. Except there are times when I get scared and I don't believe that, and there are little things that shouldn't matter, but they bother me. Like why Stefan wears Catherine's ring around his neck, even though I know he loves me. Like why he's never said he loves me, even though I know it's true.
I
understand the necklace thing.
Yeah. I don't know. I think as a teenager, your idea of love is very misconstrued.
But I also understand, like, say, because he was really attached to her.
Yeah.
And they were, like, almost going to get married, and it would be, like, as if your, like, fiance died.
Yeah.
It'd
be devastating.
It'd be devastating. So maybe you'd want a piece of them around with you, because it's part of your history. So I guess I get that. It's just, like, I would also feel a little jealous, I think.
Yeah, you would feel a little uneasy, like, why is she still around your neck?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I know I'm not her, but Yeah.
It makes me uneasy knowing that that's
there
on your body.
Yeah.
It's like a tattoo of like the person's ex.
Yeah, or like tattooing their name on their body.
Yeah, it's like you don't want to see it. You want it to go away.
It doesn't matter. Everything will work out. It has to work out. And then we'll be together and we'll be happy, and there's no reason why we can't. There's no reason why we can't. There's no reason. Elena stopped writing, trying to keep the letters on the page in focus. They only blurred further, and she shut her book before betraying a teardrop that could fall on the ink. Then she went over to the closet, pried up the loose floorboard with a nail file, and put the diary in there. She had the nail file in her pocket a week later, as the three of them, she, Bonnie, and Meredith, stood outside of Catherine's door. "Hurry up," hissed Bonnie in agony, looking around the yard as she expected something to... Yeah.
She's super annoyed with Elena.
To jump out at them. "Come on, Meredith." "There," said Meredith, as the key finally went in the right way into the deadbolt lock, and the doorknob yielded to her turning fingers. "We're in." "Are you saying they're not in?" "Elena, what if they come back early? Why can't we do this in the daytime at least?" "Bonnie, will you get inside? We've been through this. The maids only here during the daytime, and they won't be back early. They won't be back early tonight unless somebody gets sick at Ches Louise's." "Now, come on," said Elena. "Nobody would dare get sick at Mr. Forbes' birthday dinner," Meredith said comfortingly to Bonnie as the small girl stepped in. "We're safe. If you got enough money to go to the expensive restaurants and you think that they can afford to leave a few lights on," said Bonnie, refusing to be comforted. Privately, Elena agreed with it. It was strange and disconcerting to be wandering around through somebody else's house in the dark, and her heart pounding chokingly as they went up the stairs. Her palm clutched the chain flashlight that showed them the way. It was wet and slippery, but in spite of the physical symptoms of panic, her mind was still operating coolly, almost with detachment. "It's got to be in her bedroom," she said. Caroline's window faced the street, which meant they had to be even more careful not to show light there. Elena swung the tiny beam of the flashlight around in a feeling of dismay. There was one thing to plan to search someone's room, to picture efficiently and methodically going through the drawers. It was another to actually be standing there, surrounded by what seemed to be thousands of places to hide something, and feeling afraid to touch anything in case Caroline noticed it was disturbed. The two girls were almost standing still. "Maybe we should just go home," Bonnie said quietly, and Meredith did not contradict her. "We have to at least try," said Elena, hearing how tiny and hollow her voice sounded. She eased open a drawer on the highboy and shone a light into the dainty piles of lacy underwear. A moment poking through them assured her there was nothing like a book in there. She straightened the piles and shut the door again. Then she let out a breath. "It's not that hard," she said. "What we need to do is divide up the room and search everything in our section. Every drawer, every piece of furniture, every object big enough to hide a diary in." She assigned herself the closet, and the first thing she did was prod the floorboards with her nail file. But Caroline's boards all seemed secure, and the walls of her closet sounded solid. Rummaging through Caroline's clothes, she found several things she lent the other girl last year. She was tempted to take them back, but of course she couldn't. A search of Caroline's shoes and purses revealed nothing, even as she dragged a chair over so that she could investigate the top shelf of the closet thoroughly. Meredith was sitting on the floor examining a pile of stuffed animals that had been relegated to a chest with other childish mementos. She ran her long, sensitive fingers over each, checking for slits in the material. Then she reached a fluffy poodle. She paused. "I gave this to her," she whispered. "I think for her 10th birthday. I thought she'd thrown it away." Elena couldn't see her eyes. Meredith's own flashlight was turning on the poodle, but she knew how Meredith was feeling. I tried to make up with her, she said softly. "I did, Meredith, at the haunted house, but she was as good as she told me. She would never forgive me for taking stuff in from her. I wish things could have been different, but she wouldn't let them be. So now it's a war," said Elena, final and flat. She watched as Meredith put the poodle aside and picked up the next animal. Then she turned back to her own search. But she had no better luck with the dresser than she did with the closet, and every moment that passed, the more she felt uneasy, more certain that they were about to hear a car pulling into the Forbes' driveway. "It's no use," Meredith said, at last feeling underneath Caroline's mattress. She must have hidden it. Wait, there's something here. I feel it in the corner. Elena and Bonnie stared from opposite ends of the room, momentarily frozen. I've got it. Elena, it's your diary. Relief swooped through Elena as she felt like a crumpled... Relief swooped through Elena then, and she felt like a crumpled piece of paper being straightened and smoothed. She could move again. Breathing is wonderful. She'd known all along that nothing really terrible could happen to Stefan. Life couldn't be that cruel. Not to Elena Gilbert. They were all safe now. But Meredith's voice was puzzled.
Sorry.
It's a diary, but it's green, not blue. It's the wrong one. What? Elena snatched the little book, shining a light on it, trying to make the emerald green of the color change into sapphire blue, but it didn't work. This diary was almost exactly like hers. But it wasn't hers. It's Caroline's, she said stupidly, still not wanting to believe it. Bonnie and Meredith crowded close. They all looked at the closed book, and then at the other one. There might be clues, said Elena slowly. It's only fair, agreed Meredith.
Agreed.
But it was Bonnie who actually took the diary and opened it. Elena peered over her shoulder at Caroline's spiky black slanted writing, so different from the block letters of the purple notes. At first her eyes didn't focus, but then the name leapt out at her, Elena. Wait, what's that? Bonnie, who was the only one actually in position to read more than one or two words, was silent a moment, her lips moving. Then she snorted. Listen to this, she said, and read. Elena's the most selfish person I'd ever known. Everyone thinks she's so together, but it's really just coldness. It's sickening the way people stick up for her, never realizing she doesn't give a damn about anyone or anything except for Elena.
She's not wrong.
She's not wrong.
Not wrong.
She's not wrong. Caroline says that? We should talk. She should talk. But Elena could feel the heat in her face. It was practically what Matt had said to her when she was after Stefan. Go on, there's more, said Meredith, poking at Bonnie, who continued in an offended voice. Bonnie's almost as bad these days, always trying to make herself important. The newest thing is pretending she's psychic so people would pay attention to her. If she was really psychic, she'd figure out that Elena's just using her.
Not wrong.
Not wrong. There was a heavy pause, and then Elena said, Is that all? No, there's a bit about Meredith. Meredith doesn't do anything to stop it. In fact, Meredith doesn't do anything. She just watches. It's as if she can't act. She can only react to things. Besides, I've heard my parents talking about her family. No wonder she never mentions them. What's that supposed to mean? Meredith hadn't moved, and Elena could only see her neck and chin in the dim light. But she spoke quietly and steadily. It doesn't matter. Keep on looking, Bonnie, for something about Elena's diary. Try about October 18th. That's when it was stolen. And Elena put her questions aside. She'd ask Meredith about it later. There was no entry for October 18th or the weekend after. In fact, there were only a few entries for the following weeks. None of them mentioned the diary. Well, that's it then, said Meredith, sitting back. This book is useless unless we want to blackmail her with it. You know, like we wouldn't we wouldn't show hers if she won't show yours. It's a tempting idea, but Bonnie spotted the flaw. There's nothing bad about Caroline in here. It's just all complaints about other people, mostly us. But bet Caroline would love to have it read out loud in front of the whole school and make her day. So what do we do with it? Put it back, said Elena tiredly. She swung her light around the room, which seemed to her eyes to be filled with subtle differences from when they come in. We'll have to keep on pretending we didn't know she has my diary and hope for another chance. All right, said Bonnie, but she went on thumbing through the little book, occasionally giving vent to an indignant snort or hiss. Will you listen to this? She exclaimed. There isn't time, Elena said. She would have said something else at that moment. Meredith spoke, her voice commanding everyone's immediate attention. A car. It took only a second to ascertain the vehicle was pulling up into the Forbes' driveway. Bonnie's eyes and mouth were wide and round. She seemed to be paralyzed, kneeling by the bed. Go on, said Elena, snatching the diary from her. Turn the flashlights off and get to the back door. They were already moving, Meredith urging Bonnie forward. Elena dropped to her knees and lifted the bed up, pulling out Caroline's mattress, with the other hand, pushing the diary forward, wedging it between the mattress and the dust ruffle. The thinly covered box springs bit into her arm from below, but even worse was the weight of the queen-size mattress bearing down from above. She gave the book a few more nudges with her fingertips and pulled her arm out, tugging the bedspread back into place. She gave a wild glance around the room when she left. There was no time to fix anything more now. She moved swiftly and silently toward the stairs. She heard a key in the front door. What followed was a short, sort of dreadful game of tag. Elena knew they were not deliberately chasing her, but the Forbes' family seemed determined to corner her in their house. She turned back the way she had come as voices and lights materialized in the hall as they headed up the stairs. She fled from them to the last doorway down the hall, and they seemed to follow. They moved across the landing. They were right outside the master bedroom. She turned toward the adjoining bathroom, but she saw lights spring to life under the closed door, cutting off her escape. She was trapped. At any moment, Caroline's parents might come in. She saw the French windows leading to a balcony and made her decision at the same instant. Outside, the air was cool, and her panting breath slowed faintly. Yellow light burst forth from the room beside her, and she huddled even further to the left, keeping out of its path. Then the sound she had been dreading came with terrible clarity, the snick of a door handle, followed by the billowing of curtains inward as the French doors opened. She looked around frantically. It was too far to jump to the ground. There was nothing to grab to climb down. That left only the roof, and there was nothing to climb there either. Still, some instinct made her want to try. She was on the balcony railing and groping for a handhold above her, even as the shadow appeared on the flimsy curtains. A hand parted them. A figure began to emerge, and then Elena felt something clasping her own hand, locking around her wrist and hauling her upwards. Automatically, she boosted to her feet and felt herself scrambling onto the shingling roof. Trying to calm her ragged breath, she looked over gratefully to see who her rescuer was and froze. Predictions.
Damon.
I think it is Damon. But that was the
I
end of
think
the
it's
chapter.
Damon.
That was the end of the chapter, though.
Oh, nice.
That's what I was saying. Predictions. Ah! I lost my spot.
Wait.
That was 10. And
That was
11.
a long chapter. Well, it felt long.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was a good chapter.
It's Damon.
I think it's Damon.
Damon.
I wasn't going to read on. I was going to let it be a surprise.
Yeah, I think it's Damon. I'd be surprised if it's Catherine, though. I'd be really surprised.
She just, gets pulled up by someone who looks like her.
Yeah.
I'm looking in the mirror right now.
Who are you? Yeah, I think it's Damon. But there's a part of me that's like, maybe it's Catherine?
Well,
Just to make her appear.
Well, the other thing is, what if it was actually Stefan, and he's been following her and knew about the diary the whole time?
I don't think it's Stefan.
You think it was Damon?
I think it's more likely to be Damon.
I mean, he was at that party.
Yeah. So I do think it's more likely to be Damon. But I can sense Bonnie's irritation.
Oh, Bonnie's definitely irritated.
with
Meredith
Elena.
is like, yeah, we'll do anything. I think the diary was right. She just kind of reacts. She doesn't really
Put anything on the table.
which is why her character development is so
Blah.
blah. As where Bonnie has a brain and is like, yeah, we shouldn't be breaking into somebody's house. That's stupid.
Yeah.
Especially when she doesn't really know what all is going on.
Exactly.
All she knows is at this point is that excuse me, is that she's been showing bits and pieces of the diary, and that she's gonna read the diary at the
Founders
yeah.
Festival thing, Founders Day.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's about as much as they know, and it's
Yeah.
okay, I wouldn't break into a house for that,
No, not for your diary.
not for your diary. I mean, yeah, it's embarrassing, but I just wouldn't go to Founders Day,
Yeah, just don't go.
she has nobody to
Show up for, I guess.
yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, they were saying that maybe it would run Stefan out of town, but
No. Wannabe Gaston, that won't happen.
just don't go to the Founders Day party. Just don't let Stefan go to the Founders Day party. Have him leave for a little bit, like, and go with him.
Or
Like, go
warn
on a
him.
vacation for a little bit.
Yeah.
Just the two of you. Go
Why
away for a
not?
little bit.
Why not?
Stefan's got the money for it.
Yeah.
Just be like, oh yeah, we're gonna, that week of like Founders Day,
Let's go out of town.
we're gonna go out of town just for a little bit. Just
Even though they're teenagers, but still.
yeah, but we'd just be like, we're gonna go with Stefan's parents.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't think that Elena's aunt knows that Stefan doesn't have really parents.
Family, yeah.
Just be like, oh yeah, we're gonna go with Stefan's parents over to back to Italy because that's where he's from, and they offered to pay for us, and we're just gonna be gone for like a week and a half, and then we'll come back. And then Caroline has nobody to. Yeah. So yeah, she accidentally pressed the stop button.
Yeah, on accident.
But yeah, Caroline would have nobody to goad, like to egg on. And that's really what she wants.
With Tyler.
And Tyler wouldn't either. And I mean, I don't even know how that even like helps him with his case because he wants to prove that his family was the founder's family, which even if Stefan was part of the founding family, they're not just gonna like erase that from their history just because Stefan was like. They thought that Stefan was crazy and a murderer. Like, that's not going to help his case at all.
It's history, so it's not going to be erased.
It's not going to change.
It's not changing, so.
So I don't know how that helps Tyler's case any, except for the fact that he doesn't like Stefan. So if he's not there, there's nothing that they can do. Like,
it's all just, like, spitefulness and ego.
Yeah. Tyler wants to be top dog because of the fact that his family was a founding family.
It should be recognized.
Caroline just wants the school for herself.
Mm-hmm.
Catherine really I think really wants to get back at like
the boys.
And I think a little bit of Elena.
Yeah.
Because she's probably jealous.
Agreed. And Elena's just in her own head. It has no reference to any consequences.
Elena is just so transfixed on keeping Stefan forever and ever and ever and ever and ever that she's not realizing all the problems that she's causing for everyone around her.
Exactly. And there's a lot going on right now.
Yeah. And then Damon's just I don't even know what Damon wants.
I think he loves cat and mouse. I think it's a cat and mouse game.
Yeah, but is he like obsessed with Elena? Is he just going after her because it's fun, or is it because like he legitimately thinks that it's like she's like a reincarnation of like Catherine?
I think right now it's fun. Yeah. Anyways, let us know what you guys think in the comments below. Let's hear your voices. We want to communicate with you guys. We want to talk with you guys. Also follow us on our Instagram page, Fun and Friends. Same name. Just follow us there and get the most latest and up-to-date information of what we're doing.
Like if we have to cancel because somebody's in Sonoma.
Yeah, if somebody's on a trip or somebody's sick or what have you.
Or our computer gets a virus or all of our bad luck with computers, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
That way you guys are up to date on when we're coming back and things like that. If you have to take a break and all that good stuff, so follow us there. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Bye.